Leanne's already in the chat room, chatting it up and talking about weather. It's good. It's a good thing. When we were on Fun University, the private site, we used to come live 20 or 10 minutes early so we'd have chat time. But this is just different because it's different. It's different because it's different, and other obvious statements. That's what we're in for tonight, I guess. I've been cleaning my room, so I am excited to do something besides clean. Even though I totally loved it. We moved here almost 2 years ago, and we just kind of threw things in here. And it's been evolving, as it were, into areas, and I've not been happy with it at all. So it's just been getting worse and worse. So this month I'm doing the closet, and I'm doing my scrapbooking area, because I love scrapbooking, and I love the it sounds funny, but I love the tidiness of a scrapbook, and how it contains things, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore, and it unclutters my mind, and so I can forget things, and it's just like no problem because it's already booked in my little book. So that's why I like it. But it hasn't been happy. It hasn't been a happy place. So I am working really hard to get it to be a more happy place where everything has a purpose and a pattern and a future. So anyway, that's what I've been doing today. What have you all been doing? I'm going to start here in just a moment. It's pretty cool. I think tonight, Sharon, you might like it. I'm worried about you running around without your bathing suit top. And I hope you have a good cover up. But, yep, patty back it does, doesn't it? It unclutters your mind. It just, when you get it in the scrapbook, you feel like you've done your duty. You've done your responsibility to the next generation and to your own self. And anyway, it was, yesterday was my 42nd wedding anniversary to my starter husband, my first husband. And, we drove around and looked at the old houses and different things, and man, those things seemed like so long ago. They were so long ago, and it was amazing how many things just kind of flood into your brain. Oh, gosh. Anyway, so, yep. Yeah, Judy, I want my room to be, I don't want my kids to walk in here if I'm gone all of a sudden, which I'm not planning on going anywhere, but at this age, you kind of have to come to grips with that. And I don't want them to walk in here and go, oh my gosh, Mom, what were you thinking? Look at all this, and have it so horrible. So I want them to walk in and go, whoa, this isn't so bad. I thought it was going to be a lot worse. We'll just have to go through these mountains of cards, these boxes and boxes and boxes of cards, and then the scrapbooks they can throw away if they want. But they shouldn't. My goodness, it's wonderful stuff. So, yep, 42. Isn't that something? I was only 19. Even if I were 19, I would be younger than I am now. I was newborn newlywed. I'm old. Your 46th is Monday. Congratulations, Mary Lynn. Thank you, guys. Well, I think we might as well get started. We've got a whole month. I'll just tell you, on Fun University, I don't do kits. I don't buy a product and tell you 5 ways to do things. I don't do that. But we work all that kind of stuff into the projects over the month, but we usually come at it at a art design element, added or perspective. And so I'll tell you about what we're going to do this month here in just a moment. Last month we did gatefold because I was just getting used to something new, but you never know what we're going to do. But this is this is one of the things we do, and so I think it will be okay. If it's not, there's always Netflix. Thanks for showing up. It's good to see you guys. I like you, every last one of you. I'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Mary Gunn. Welcome to Fun University.
Hello, I'm Mary Gunn of Mary Gunn Fun, founder and head professor of Fun University. This is the first Cards Plus Lab of June 2021, and I welcome you to the campus of Fun University. We approach, I don't know, maybe we do it like everybody, but we approach teaching card making through art design and stamping, which is a very fun thing because stamping makes artists of us all. And you know, there's that moment. It's my why I do this moment when I see somebody go like this. Oh, I made that. So if I can help you to get to that, oh, I made that moment, that's what I'm here for. So this is Fun University. We have been a private organization for 2 years now. We are public and we are community sponsored. So if you are interested by the end of this show, as they say on YouTube, to subscribe, that'd be awesome. Get notifications, that'd be great. Share, that would be really great because we have a big table where everybody can come. And join our Patreon too if you want, because we give you extra content there that nobody else gets to see. But it's fun. It's a fun way for me to kind of connect behind the scenes, and you guys get to vote on Craft Roulette, what you don't want to have on the show. So anyway, all sorts of good stuff that is on our Patreon. It's all under Mary Gunn Fun. By the way, Mary Gunn Fun is kind of like the overall thing. If you ever forget the name of Craft Roulette, Cut the Crap and Create, or Fun University, just look up Mary Gunn Fun, you'll find it all. So you can't imagine choosing Netflix over Fun University. That's my girl. Always scholastic endeavors over pure entertainment, right? Okay, well, we're going to talk about, nope, we're not going down to paper yet. We are going to talk, this month, we're talking about line. Line is like one of the most foundational, it seems, line? But line is one of the most foundational elements of art design. Art is evocative, correct? You look at something and it gets you to think or feel something. It makes you feel pleasant. It makes you feel peaceful, serene, happy, go lucky. No, it doesn't. Well, maybe a little bit. Or it can also make you feel a little bit of angst and anxiety and disjointedness. And so a lot of that is because of line. Lines can, hang on. I gotta close the door. There's some kind of noise out there, and I'm not sure what it was. It might have been Netflix. I can't believe somebody would be watching Netflix in my own house. But, so line can determine a lot of that. Line also determines shape. Line also determines strength, gracefulness, stability, calmness, all sorts of stuff. And that's what we're going to talk about this month. This week, we're going to talk about really basic vertical and horizontal. Next week, we're going to talk about what happens when you use diagonals. The third week, we are going to talk about curves and what happens to a line with curves. And fourth week, number 4, we're going to talk about shapes. And that one has a really fun exercise. I can't wait. I've been practicing with it, and it's really fun. So I want you to stay around every stinking week. Sherry's here. If you do have any questions about Fun University, she was a great student from the get-go, almost the get-go. So if you have any questions, and she will help me out with those and all that kind of stuff. You get education and entertainment both with me. Yes, because I'm so scatterbrained. Thank you. So we are here to entertain it. We call it craftertainment. Crafting and entertainment together. That's how we call it, craftertainment. But anyway, Catherine Taylor, yay. Yay, glad you're here. So, all right. So now knowing that, let's go down and start talking about some stuff, shall we? Let's get crafted. One thing I promised you guys was I would show you this little tiny darling book, and I will. And it's just a little book about trucks. This was inspired by Craft Roulette last Friday, and I really struggled with getting the card that I was happy with. But this one finally, this is just a single piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, cut down the center after you fold it, and it folds into this cool little thing. And I'll try to show you that on study hall next time. But it says Crazy for Cars, Trucks, and You, which it would be a darling, darling stamp. So, and I happen to know there's a lot of people that don't have cars and truck stamps. So, hello, if you are making stamps, this is one that you need to go ahead and do some cars and some stamps. Crazy for Cars, Trucks, and Use. There it is. I'll just take a small percentage of that and that'll be fine. Okay, so I have crossed the prairies of Kansas more than once. And let me tell you, sister, when you are out on the prairie, this is what you see. You see the horizon and the horizon and the horizon. It is flat, remarkably flat. Every once in a while you see the largest ball of twine advertisement, or actually you can see the largest ball of twine from the road, which is, I have stopped. It's worth it, let me tell you. And so anyway, when you are on that I-70 going across Kansas, you feel very safe. You feel very stable. You don't feel like you're going to have to be going up and down or anything like that. You're just going straight. And so this is a horizontal line. The horizontal lines will make you feel very stable. They make you feel like there's some distance involved there. You're going for a while. You're not there yet. You may never get there because it's so far in the distance. But when you're making cards, if you did this, well, it could be kind of cool actually if you were doing kind of a modern art kind of approach to and minimalistic art if you wanted to do your card. But if you go ahead and break that plane by adding some sort of vertical plane, and you can keep that on the horizontal line, that makes your interest a whole bunch higher. So if you just have your horizontal line and you add another horizontal line and another horizontal line, your interest level is not going to be as great as if you give it a little bit of a vertical boost. You can make it in the center and it gets a little more formal. If you want to put it over on the side, it's a little more asymmetric and it's not as formal. This would be a great place to put a little sentiment and you're good to go. Does this work vertically? Vertical structures, what do you think of? You think of downtowns, you think of city buildings, you think of height, you think of structure and going high, you think of, what am I trying to say here? You think of, let me get my notes because I know I wrote them down. I don't know, I guess I didn't write this down. But you do think of height and strength when you see something, just a vertical line. Now, if you break that with a bit of a horizontal line, you bring it down to that little focal point. It doesn't just keep going and going and going higher and lower and higher and lower. You can make it go anywhere you like. If you like things at the top, you can move it up at the top. If you like things at the bottom, you can move things at the bottom. We are going to talk about diagonals next week, but if you put it at a diagonal, it adds a little bit of playfulness, doesn't it? This stays pretty formal when you are on an XY grid. The grid thing is a very structured and rigid formation. So I love it. It's like, did you guys ever play Tetris? Oh my gosh, did you love Tetris? So yes, it works for vertical and it works for horizontal. Here's another example of a taller vertical. You break that plane and you're just going to be happier. If you have it side, you can make it top heavy. You can do the other side. You can bring it down to the bottom and you're going to have a little more weight. If you have it in the center, it's going to be pretty formal. If you have it at the top, it's a way to do it. I tend to want to be at the bottom, a little closer to the bottom. Not clear at the bottom. No, I'm not digging I don't dig clear at the bottom kind of stuff. I like, and I don't like it clear at the top. But I like it with a little bit of hint on both sides. One side being a little more loud than the other. So that's that. Let's look, and that's just to get you started. Let me show you what happens with, because we're using fruit this month. Isn't that a fun thing to do with line? This is, what do we have here? We have a line of pears. Well, but it's all very, what do you think about this? I mean, it's just there, isn't it? There's not a whole lot of interest. It doesn't give me any sense of groundedness. It just feels like I'm going up. It's kind of like the pear elevator. Oh, push number what floor, please? Which pear, please? Pear 1, pear 2, pear 3, pear 4. It just doesn't. It gives you that sense of height. It gives you a sense of maybe some strength, because you gotta have. It's got to be tall. You've got to have some strength, like a. But you usually, when you're getting strength with height, you widen out at the bottom. So that is one way to look at how vertical lines can affect you. Here's an example with horizontal lines. Again, not particularly interesting, is it? There just aren't, it's just not that interesting. But it makes, this side makes me feel like we're a little more stable. We've got a little more horizontal activity there. And so you feel a little like you're grounded. And even if you had some grounding on there, you really would feel like that. But this one, just see, woo, you just keep going. It's like, where do you stop? So there's that going on there. And I will show you the rest. I'm going to make these into cards, though, this week. And I will show them to you next week. Something else, I think I have it right here. Where'd it go? I have them all laid out here now. Where'd it go? There we go. So okay, so if you have all this vertical stuff going on and you have all this horizontal stuff going on, what happens then if you do a horizontal and a vertical? Like we were talking about, it's kind of the yin to the yang. It's the peanut butter to the jelly. It's the goodness with the emptiness. And these are what I'm talking about. Okay, so if we have this horizontal line right here, again, we don't have much interest, do we? And pretend you're driving on I-70 going to Colorado, and it is flat out there, you guys. And you just keep driving and driving, and you're looking for that big ball of twine, but it's not coming along. And then you come over the next, well, you don't come over another hill, but you see an old cottonwood tree, the state of Kansas tree. And you're all of a sudden, it is more interesting to drive along Kansas highway. You're looking and looking, but the tree by itself, without an anchor of the horizontal line, is just hanging there, and it feels like it's not connected to anything, does it? Well, it's not. So it just doesn't have that connection, and so you actually do need both, a little bit of a vertical line and a horizontal line to add some pleasantness. Now you don't have to, we're going to talk about, no, I don't want to do the curves yet. So anyway, that's what what's like to drive down Kansas highway. You just keep wanting to find that tree, or that twine or something to look for. So there's also some other things about line that's very, very fundamental. One is the thickness of line and what that thickness does. So we have the directional of vertical and horizontal, but we also have thickness. So let me show you something here. Here we go. So we have this little guy. We'll put these guys right here. Okay. You thought we were just going to make cards, didn't you? No, I fooled you. We're gonna learn some stuff here first. Okay, so we've got thickness of lines, and we have implied lines. This doesn't actually have a white line going through it. This would most likely somebody would say this is a line and this is a line, even though they're great big fat lines. But this is an implied line, and that's huge in art. It is the thing that will make your eye go to see something. So this is another element of design, which is called implied line. Is this whole thing going to work with this too? Well, let's see. That's okay. That's okay. What if we made these two fat lines work together so that we have a vertical and a horizontal at the same time. Let's put these little garlands together and cut a chunk off just to make it a little shorter. Whoops, let's put it up there. We're going to make it a little shorter. Then we're going to cut. So we have two implied lines. I think it's going to work. Yeah, we do. Looks more like a flag, doesn't it? Okay, now we have two implied lines. Even though they aren't true, we didn't add anything to make it a line. Now what do we think? Now we've got two lines pointing us to the focal point. And visually that is a much more pleasing thing than this being up here stuck along here, because these implied lines are saying, hey, this is where it's happening. Don't be sticking me up there. Bring me here. Does this work if we twist it? Where's the implied lines? It's still telling us to look in the same place, even though we twisted it. Right there. My implied lines aren't behaving very well. Does it work if we go another 90 degrees? Put it down here. Where are those implied lines telling your eyes to go? Same place. Ta-da! And once again, we've got implied lines telling us that we've got an intersection right there. To that end also, there is I thought I had one that was this way. There is the rule of threes, and I kind of did that there, but not exactly. And that means that at intersections, usually the top, like if you had a tic-tac-toe board, shouldn't be that many squares. If you had a tic-tac-toe board, we can make one. I know how. I have played a few games of tic-tac-toe. So if you have a tic-tac-toe board, the most interesting places are here, 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 and here for your focal points. So this also goes in line with that, doesn't it? Whoopsie. Right there. No matter where we put it, it's going to stay with that. Well, if my tic-tac-toe board had been better, it would have worked better. So anyway, that's all I wanted to make sure you knew about right from the get-go. Vertical lines, horizontal lines, implied lines, what they do, what they pull your eye along. I want you to just keep that in mind. Next up, what if you have a busy pattern? We were just working with a clean pattern in the background. What if you have a busy pattern, you have all these apples? What happens? Are we going to need a vertical and a horizontal line? Because we've got things going on all over. And Sue, I see you here. You are going to like next week. Yes, pears are white at the bottom. They in themselves, Patty, have a bit of a horizontalness to them, don't they? So anyway, but you're going to like, Sue, next week when we talk about diagonal lines and random stamping, I think. Maybe. Oh, my. Okay, so we've got this thing laying right here, and we've got all this busyness going on. So we can add a vertical line and cut the plane right there. Make it a little more interesting right off. What if we add a sentiment that is also very vertical? Do we like it? I don't love it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. But watch what happens when we break that vertical plane with a little bit of a horizontal interest. You get a much stronger card. You think? Yay! Oh, you're on the shore? Good for you, Jamie. Way to go. So let me show you that again. No, it doesn't matter if we put it up here on the tic-tac-toe board or if we put it down here on the tic-tac-toe board. you still don't have a good break in the with a horizontal line there. That, however, not only does it have a lot of weight because it's big, it also has the horizontal part that makes the card more interesting. All right, does that work any other way? Well, the apples are not going to be going the right way, but we'll pretend. Look how, see, I'm instinctively bringing this over a little bit because I want some balance in there. I just want some balance. You can put it in the middle. Well, let's make those apples go the right way before I have a conniption. We don't want to have a conniption. Okay. Does that work then if we do it in the middle and it's more formal? Same thing. You've got that little guy that, there's also a thing about proportion and placement and alignment and different things like that that are going to be a part of this. But suffice it to say tonight that if you have a lot of vertical, break it with some horizontal. If you've got a lot of horizontal, break it with some vertical. It's a quick way to make your card stronger. Okay, so we had the one line on the white, and then we had the big lines with implied lines. What happens then if we have multiple lines? This is we're being very studious tonight. I will tell you that I hope it's not boring you to tears. But how about if we bring this guy back in, because we've got all that vertical stuff going on, and we tuck that little apple right underneath him. What happens then? That's kind of a cute little card, isn't it? Not too bad. Not too bad. We couldn't put it on top because of the sentiment. It wouldn't work. But it could work if the sentiment behaved. Okay, so then we broke this vertical line with a really strong horizontal line. Hey, Sherilyn. And now I'm very happy. It doesn't take much to make me happy. I'm very simple, as a matter of fact. Let's see if it works this way. Okay, so we've got this thing now all going horizontal. If we put this guy on here, he's still going to be horizontal. Is he going to be? It's an okay card. Is it a fabulous card? Not to me. It might be okay, but it's not great fabulous. How am I going to break that horizontal line into a more vertical line? I'm just going to put him on some stilts and make him reach above that horizontal line so that we have some more vertical height there. You're going to have to watch this a gazillion times. Oh, geez. You'll get it. And then you can just put another little element in there to make it a little more interesting. Pretty simple techniques, isn't it? Yeah. So if you look at your card when you're building it and you go, okay, I've got this really pretty piece of paper here. Now what? Think about what you need to do next. Are you super horizontal? Add some height. Are you super vertical? Add some width. You'll be good. We can do this we can see it also if we add a little cluster, a designed cluster. We're still pretty vertical here, but what do we have going on that breaks that plane? We've got the string and we've got the tumbling around of the strawberries, don't we? We also have thanks going across there. Thanks could be going vertically, but that wouldn't be, and you could even put those little strawberries, boink, 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 but it wouldn't be as strong compositionally as this one is. Now, if we twist this around, now what do we, I like this one. How about if we go this way? Whoopsie, come back here. That one looks pretty good too, doesn't it? Because now we've got a strong horizontal, and we got a really strong vertical. How about if we make the sentiment vertical or horizontal instead of vertical? It's very sideways, isn't it? Not a whole lot of change there. What do we have here? We can go high. It's okay. We can go in the center. It'll be pretty, it's a little more formal, but it's really strong. And we can go lower, third, and still be very strong. And we'll have some weight there that will be fine. That'll add some, for those of us who really need to have things in line, this one makes me very happy. So those are all kind of things that you can do too. I'm sorry that this is very academic tonight, but I'm just getting you started. Next week will be more fun. I got boogers on here. I gotta get that off while I look at it. Glue boogers. I put the ATG glue down. I can show you how to do that. And then I made the, and then I stuck this on first. And but I didn't cover up the ATG. Okay, so that's some fun things to do with those kind of concepts. And here's something, okay, so here, do you have to have paper to make? These were not my favorites. These are not my favorites at all. But they've got some potential. I'm going to keep playing with it. So if you have this big blobby stuff in the background, does it have line? Oh, that's very, very philosophical. Does it have line? It has edges, or as Natasha would say on YouTube, edges. But it has edges, but not necessarily true line. So you can add lines. This one, do you have to have cardstock to add lines? You shouldn't. You shouldn't have to have cardstock to add lines. These were just with a straight edge and a marker. What is this? A Copic multi-liner, 0.3. So it's not a real big fat thing. And I could add some more too and make it have a whole little section in here. You could add, and you can also do it diagonally and it looks fabulous. Well, cool, Kathy. That's good to hear. And thank you, Sue. Thank you very much that you'll notice a difference in your cards. I hope so. So this one I painted all with silver paint, which seemed like a luxury to me. It's like, do I need an armored vehicle to mail this? I don't think so. And then I stamped on top of that with just the outline stamp, and then did the color with some really light peachy color and green. I don't love it. I don't love it, but I think I might get to it. You know, I'm thinking, I'm wondering if I did some little slits here and then did some thread behind it, it might be, it just seems a little, these don't seem big enough. They seem too small. So, I mean, let's look and see what happens when you put a couple apples on it. I think even that makes me happier. I think that the strawberries are just too small. It's a big card. You could do the strawberry. I might I could cut it down and then use that. But I've got it all glued together. But I think that one's better. If I had some shiny on the napples. And then the sentiment, you can also nestle a little bit of bling in there, and that would be pretty too. Oh, it really would be pretty. I was just surprised myself. Did I use vellum and paint? I used watercolor paper and my, yes, I think they could be popped up too, but then you'd see the strawberries underneath them. I use my these things. My Master's Touch from a Hobby Lobby. I think a bunch of people have these. They don't go anywhere too fast either. I've been a little bit stingy with them, but not terribly. They seem to go really well. And then this one, I did end up outlining tracing over that to make it pop up a little bit better. This one's going to have some kind of saying. I was playing with it, couldn't figure out how to make it make me happy with it. So, but you know what I did? I have my vertical lines and horizontal lines saying, come over here. And then I went off grid, didn't I? Oh, that just doesn't work. It may seem a little formulaic, but at the same time, there's a reason. You don't have to do it this way. Ooh, look at these pretty butterflies I have up here. These would be pretty. I have them just on my monitor because I like the way they look. Those would be pretty. I wonder if I could put one of these over here and then have that as a part of the thing. I don't know. It may be scrapped. It may be just a lesson. But I beat myself at my own game, didn't I? To have the vertical lines and the horizontal lines saying, hey, look right here. This is where it's all happening. It's all going down. That's where the car wreck is, right there. Look there as you drive by. And then I put these guys over there. What a goofball. I may end up doing another, I'll fix this tomorrow. And I could put another one right there too. And it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And then these guys, I don't know. Somebody's gonna come along and fix you. I'm not sure if it's me tonight. Flip, 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 flip. These kind of have flippy wings. See how curved they are? But they're going back up on my monitor for the night. I think this is the thing I really should have had on this card. I think I should have had the think, which I also keep on my monitor because sometimes I forget. And I need to think. So those are my thoughts on that. Here's one other little thing. Let me just have a word with you girls. Slimline cards. Know what I'm going to talk about? Do you? Do you think you know? Let me tell you something about slimline cards. They got a whole lot of one way. Whole lot. And that's what messes us up. Let's look at a couple ideas. Okay. Here's your slimline. Holy moly. It is disproportionately either horizontal or disproportionately vertical. All of a sudden we go, hey guys, let's make a really long card or a really tall card. And let's pretend that it's the same as making one of these, which is like, no, that is so different. Proportionately, this guy deserves a whole lot more thought. And we've been working so hard for 5, 6, 20 years making this size card. And then all of a sudden this guy comes along and goes, yeah, go ahead, just pretend that we're the same. And then we start making these things and they're fighting us. We're having trouble with them. And I just want to talk a minute about this guy. He is, now that we know about horizontal lines and vertical lines, we can see what the problem with a slimline card is, can't we? You either are really long or really tall. So what do you do? Well, let's start. Which one do you prefer? That's one thing you can do. You can decide which one you like better. Do you like it long or do you like it tall? And that gives you a starting place. The next thing I decided to do was just make a long strip also, where I can either add to the horizontal line, but break it up with my pattern, or I can add to the vertical line and break it up with my pattern. But then what are we going to do? Well, let's pull out this little guy again. If we have a little tiny, well, that's kind of cute actually. It's kind of diminutive and somewhat cute. And it's kind of like you're down there as a little tiny person going, hey. You could put down here, looking up way up here and going, I miss you. It's terribly vertical though. And if this was if these had vertical lines, holy smokers. I wonder if I have a piece of paper that I could really show that. Because most paper also has very vertical and or horizontal lines. And you will now, being the students of Fun University, when you look at paper, go, oh, that has a very strong vertical or horizontal line. Because you are now incredibly well versed. Okay, well, you know one thing about gingham, by the way? It's got both, doesn't it? So it's kind of like it's kind of like an instant win. I do not see, except for some gingham, I do not see a good strong vertical. I'm seeing a lot of both. And I guess that's a lesson in itself when you're looking at paper to go on a card or something. If you go, well, I need something a little more vertical. It looks like most of this stuff, except for stripes, and I don't know that I have any stripes. Oh, I do. Oh, but they've got pattern in them. Okay, well, we'll cut a couple. We'll make it work. Okay. This one doesn't have a whole lot going on. Okie dokie. So if we had somebody like this, and we added this teeny tiny miss you, that's actually kind of cool. I'm sorry. But that is, I mean, it's very understated and it almost looks artistic because it is kind of understated and kind of cool. I didn't mean that to happen. Dadgummit, I hate it when that happens. So, but we could do it this way too. Now, does it work? However, we'd have to break that horizontal plane with this itty bitty little thing, which is just fine. But I don't like that nearly as much. It doesn't say the same statement, does it? It does not. It does not. It does not. Okay. So let's put this guy on here. What do you think my next move is? Gingham is the perfect for 6x6 cards. Yeah. Yeah, it also would break up this, wouldn't it? We'll cut a chunk off here and see what we can do with it. Even if I don't need it. 8.5. And we all know what a slimline is. It's an 8.5 by 3.5 card. Just FYI. Okay, so what am I going to do here? What do I need to do? I've got all this horizontal garbage going on here. Not garbage, it's pretty. Do I need more horizontal? Maybe. That's not so bad. But it doesn't really help the card. It just helps make it, no, it's really ugly. But what am I going to do? Yes, Patty, that goes to the top of the class and kiss your brain while you're going up there. We need something a little more vertical. Are we going to keep it down here? Could. But I think it's more effective if you move it up. You move him down, move this up, and you break the area a little better. Are we seeing this pretty easily? I think, I hope. Yep. You can also just break it up into chunks too. You see that a lot with slimline cards where they'll put it into 3 areas, and then you've got that whole horizontal thing broken up into 3 areas with the implied vertical lines in the middle, in the 3 middles. So that's when you look at that and you wax philosophical about the card, you'll say, oh yes, that's a very good slimline because the tremendously strong pressure on the vertical axis is broken up by using 3 planes that have implied lines in between them. Sue, you know what? I just grabbed a piece of black paper and it was this one, and I trimmed this little sentiment so that it fit. that's how absolutely careful I was with this. This would also be another little thing, but this is branching into next week a little bit. Another thing that you can do, I will go ahead and start you on next week a little bit with some diagonals. When you just have vertical and horizontal, it's still stiff. It tends to feel a little stiff. So what you can do is bring in just some playfulness of a diagonal. Yep. Slimline cards are great for 3 panels. And so what we'll do is we'll just add a little bit of ink in the background. Won't get a card made yet. So that we have a little bit of a diagonal line of this ink. I know it's going to be covered up, so I don't worry too much about the hard spot. I'm going to add a horizontal line See how much more I need to add. Maybe a little more up here and a little more down here. I didn't cut this too square, did I? Cutting irregular sizes. Day in, day out. You can find me in the irregular section. So we've got this nice little diagonal line going on, which is what we're going to do next week and talk about why that's a wonderful element to design. And that breaks up the card a little bit too, doesn't it? I want a little more over here. That tells that card. That tells your eye, it just makes everybody happier. Okay, now if we stick something down here all of a sudden, oh, what? What am I supposed to do? There is so much for me to think about. I don't want to think this much when I look at a card. I want to go, oh, look, there's that. Look who's supporting it. It's all a very pretty picture. I don't want something sticking out over here all of a sudden, and I don't want something that's incongruous all of a sudden to be over here and saying, whoa, you gotta look clear down here, but my eyes just don't do treble clef and bass clef at the same time. It's just let the focal point get the attention and have everybody tell your eye to rest right there. And by golly, get it perfect. No, don't do it. Don't do this to yourself. But isn't that pretty now? That's a slimline card broken up into something that works pretty fast and pretty easily. Can we do it the other way? We have a strong, ooh, I like that one even better. We have a strong vertical in the slimline. We have a strong vertical that's broken up in the pattern in the strip there. And then we've got a nice big horizontal plane with the sentiment, with a vertical, adding just a little bit of playfulness and helping your eye go, let's look right there. And that's how you tame a slimline. Does that help? Does it help? Let me show you, now that we've broached the subject of diagonals. Let's look at this again. Because what do we have here if we do not have a diagonal? We have the cluster. Generally, clusters are have some diagonal or some kind of diagonal lines in them. Rarely do clusters act like a Tetris board. Generally, they have some sort of diagonal lines. Scoot both directions? Yay! If you are new to Fun University, scoot is our hybrid word for super cute or so cute, either one. But generally a cluster will have some kind of diagonal lines, and it makes it a little more informal, makes it a little more comfortable to look at. So that's why that little guy works. So when you're making your cluster and you feel like it's maybe a little too rigid, look again and see how your lines are. Are you trying to make something casual and comfortable using just vertical and horizontal lines in a cluster? That may be what's fighting you. We don't need fighting. This is fun. We need just a few little rules to help us out. I really like that one. I'm going to go ahead and make it. Remember when, not too long ago, we always had black and white stripes. Black and white stripes. But it's a great contrast. It's just a good thing. Here we go. So now, is that straight? Yeah, pretty straight. And I can make another one just like it, except vertical. Oh, well, we didn't make anything, but we have a lot of samples. Let's look at them one more time. All right, let's go through this one more time because I don't want Sharon to have to watch it a million times. A gazillion. Maybe a million, but not a gazillion. Line. Remember way back when we started this hour, you didn't know much about line? Well, now you do. Line is a very fundamental aspect of design. And the most basic line concepts are vertical and horizontal. One thing I'm going to do with this is make them into some cards, and I will put them in the, once they're all pretty, I will put them in the Patreon account, our blog, and I will also put how I cut them into cards. So that'll be kind of a little extra fun thing for you guys. So we learned about vertical and horizontal, and that some of us are a little more horizontal in some ways. So that's okay and fun too. What are we talking about here? Yes. Oh, my YouTube numbers. Well, we'll get there. Those old YouTube numbers. Then we talked about going across the prairie of Kansas and how amazingly flat it is, and how you're just driving along and you need to see something besides a flat line, and then there's that old cottonwood all of a sudden and you feel better. I will finish this also and put it in the Patreon account. I will also give him something to stand on, or I may use him for another class later actually, so I will put those aside. Then we talked about implied lines. And these are not always this literal. I don't know where the little box is. These are not always this literal. When you do look at an art piece or something, you will find arms that are pointing toward the folk. You'll see an extended arm, for instance, or some rays of light that will be pointing you to a focal point. They're not always as literal as this is. So I don't want to lead you astray the next time you go to the art museum and you're looking and you're going, where are the lines here? They're supposed to be lines. They are implied, yes, but the implications can be very subtle, and those stinking artists will just mess with you sometimes. So, but if you look at like the old masters and things like that, you will often find like rays of light and arms and whatnot extended toward one area where they want your attention. And then maybe someday I'll find this little square. He ran off with the spoon, I guess. So we talked about the implied lines and where it leads your eye, and how to use that and not to abuse it and put things over here that doesn't make any sense. Go ahead and let those implied lines help your eye understand what to do next. Especially when you have all the pieces. Then we talked about this crazy card. And what do you do when you have a busy background? Fine and dandy, white background. What if you have a busy background? What do? You add a vertical plane and break it with a horizontal plane. And you've got a strong card. It's pretty easy. Isn't this cool? Then we talked about this guy. You could do it with more than one line. It's still a plain background, but pretty easy. You can think of this as with some tone-on-tone pattern paper in the background. You can break that up still by adding just a little bit of a vertical or a horizontal interest. Then we did the blobby thing with the edges but not the lines, and then how you can add lines that work with your shapes. I do like it with the apples better than I like it with the strawberries. And then we talked about why I shouldn't have done that. Thomas Kinkade, yes, you can see his light very easily. Black cord paper, I believe it is Sue. Yes, it is. And it's whatever I got at Hobby Lobby. I don't know the brand. So, and then the bad boy that nobody wants to talk about, why slim lines are really kind of hard. It's because they've got such either a vertical or horizontal extreme power, and we haven't really been told what to do with it. So I'm telling you some ideas. Break it up. Just break it up. If you've got it real vertical, give it some horizontal. If you've got it very horizontal, give it some vertical. And don't and let your eye have an area to look at. If you're doing like a scene or something, that's a whole nother thing. I'm not going to go into that one. But if you're just doing a simple card with focal point sentiment, or sentiment with a focal point, make it work, and really work on some basics first, and then go into something a little fancier. That's what I would say. But yeah, that's the story, Morning Glory. All right, okay. We want to thank our patrons that, well, that's not, I thought I just cut the box into a little piece. Rachel Castle, Janet Flanagan, Kim W., and Vicki Emerson, thank you so much for being our big funders. Make sure you vote for a color veto and a random veto. It's up to you guys. What's going to happen tomorrow with Miss Carrie on Craft Roulette? We do thank our fun supporters and our fun friends. I'm going to cough so very, very much. You guys all are pitching right in there. We do have Kathy N is a new fun friend at $5 a month, which is just so fabulous. And I did send you a little note and said I'm totally excited and totally humbled and feel very awkward about having patrons, but I do. No matter what, the big element on that one is I'm mostly appreciative. So we thank you so much. Do check into the blog in the morning, patrons, and there will be more of this on there. Won't that be fun? Thank you guys for hanging with me and listening to me just talk and talk and talk. Gives the wheel some ice cream tonight, so it's friendlier. He was a booger last week, wasn't he? But you guys did it. You guys figured it all out. I think you guys get this card stuff, and now maybe we'll just get you a little bit closer to why, so you understand why you're getting this card stuff. We'll see you tomorrow night at Craft Roulette. That's on the Craft Roulette YouTube channel. I keep saying we're going to do something on Cut the Crap and Create, and we are, and it's going to be fabulous. Next week, we will have Study Hall on Tuesday. We will also have Part 2 of lines on our Fun University Cards Plus lab. I think I have an announcement tomorrow. I think I do. I'm not going to tell you. Nope. I'm just kidding with you. I do have an announcement. That's not a kid. That's the truth. Good night. Kiss your brains. You're wonderful, beautiful women, and you're so creative and clever. I just love hanging out with you and getting to know you. Right to you, and we'll see you tomorrow night at the wheel. Bye-bye.